Did they actually make Buffalo Trace better? Today we're doing a review of John J Bowman Single Barrel. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So today we are diving into a whiskey that I have been hunting for quite a long time. It's kind of sparse in my area. This was the first time I had seen it at all, and that is John J Bowman Single Barrel. This product is coming to us all the way from Virginia at A. Smith Bowman Distilling, but as the story goes, and the reason this bottle has a lot of hype is that it's not actually their juice per se from Virginia. What seems to be happening, and what's thought to be the story here, is that this is Buffalo Trace distillate, probably Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1. At least that's what the rumors say. It's probably double distilled at Buffalo Trace and then shipped out to Virginia, where A. Smith Bowman, they redistill it one more time, so this is triple distilled, and then they age it there. Again, we don't know that much about all of those facts, if they're like actually true, but those are all the rumors. And then thought to be age-wise, maybe in that 9 to 10-year-old range, so quite a good amount of age on this, although again, that's not disclosed. In any case, John J Bowman, they've got their own small batch, which I've tasted. Pretty decent for sort of that $30-ish range, pretty spicy. And then they've got a single barrel offering. So in many ways, this sits on the same plane as the beloved, well sought after at least, Blanton's. And so a lot of people see this as a great alternative to Blanton's or a rival to it, maybe even better. So this is bottled at 100 proof. And again, probably somewhere in that 9 to 10-year-old range, which is quite good. The question really is it better than Buffalo Trace? Does it give us those certain same qualities? Is it even, more worth it than Blanton's? In terms of price point here, I paid, I think $65 for this. This is like a special barrel select from one of the stores near me, but typically I think this falls around that $50 to $60 range. So very similar to Blanton's, maybe even a little cheaper in some places. All that being said, that's the full story here. That's why this bottle gets a lot of hype. Question is, how good is the juice? What kind of profile are we getting here? Let's dive in to find out. On the nose, John J Bowman Single Barrel. Okay. I can see the Buffalo Trace DNA coming through. Very cherry, like a light crisp apple as well, like green apple. But cherry, apple, maybe even a touch of that grape note that I get a lot on Buffalo Trace, but very fruity and light crisp fruits. Good vanilla and caramel. Again though, it's like lighter and brighter. Some oak as well, giving it a little bit of a dark underlying tone, and a touch of spice maybe. But overall, it is those sweet, bright, crisp fruits with some caramel drizzle or something like that. Very sweet, very inviting, very much in line with actually more of what I get on like an Eagle Rare, or in particular an E.H. Taylor. This is reminding me a lot of that more than, say, Blanton's, which is fascinating. Let's dive in on the palate and see how it tastes. Cheers. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Mouthfeel wise, pretty strong. It's not the best mouthfeel I've ever had, but it's enough. It's good and creamy enough to coat a lot of the mouth and let the flavors linger. But it reminds me so much of like an E.H. Taylor, especially at that same proof point. Kind of full force, red cherry, vanilla, a little bit of oak and barrel spice as well. Some of that caramel and crisp green apple going on. The palate was a little bit darker and richer though than the nose gave off. So it definitely had more of that oak layered in and more of just a darker vanilla. On the nose, I feel like the notes were very bright and crisp, and on the palate, they're still fruity, and bright, but there's a little bit more backbone of like a darker vanilla and oak. Quite good. Now that we've got it on the palate though, let's go in for a second sip and see if we can pick apart some more flavors. Cheers. Okay, so that sip, I wouldn't say flattened out, but kind of evened out a little bit less of the fruit forward nature. I got more of a barrel spice, kind of tingling feeling throughout that sip. A little bit more of that oak. And again, it's not maybe a light brown sugar and caramel. That's not super dark though. But the finish for me this time, the back end of the experience was more like a rich grape and a little bit of like a darker vanilla note. But that sip for sure had a little bit more spice. The fruit didn't pop as much. It kind of mellowed out a little bit. Overall, still very good. Let's go in for the third sip and we'll evaluate the finish and kind of recap the whole experience. Before we do that, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, would love to have you aboard for the rest of 2023 and beyond. The new goal is to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. And would love if you could help us reach that. While you're at it, hit the like button. That's what helps get it out to the most people. And then also comment down below. Have you been able to try John J Bowman Single Barrel? If you have, what did you think? Did you enjoy it more than Buffalo Trace? Does it remind you of that? Is it better than Blanton's in your opinion? I just want to hear and start a conversation about John J Bowman Single Barrel. All right, let's go in on the palate for the third sip and the full experience. Cheers. Okay, so that was the darkest sip and most tannic overall. More of that oak is building, even a slight tobacco note on the back end now, kind of mixed in with that grape and vanilla. A little bit more brown sugar in the middle of that sip for me, and again, this barrel spice as well. So all good notes. I feel like the nose came through with the most amount of fruit and crisp freshness. Palate went a little bit darker progressively as I sipped on it. So the fruits came forward at first, and then it kind of deepens out into this richer oak and barrel spice and some of that grape experience. But it's a nice progression. Overall, how do I think this whiskey stacks up? Again, I'm putting this more in my mind in that E.H. Taylor category, a little bit higher proof, more punch, and really good flavors. In terms of how would it compare to Blanton's, which single barrel experience would I choose to have? Well, we're probably gonna have to do a video where we blind these two together, but right now, I can tell you, I'm enjoying this more than I remember enjoying Blanton's. For sure, I think this is more of a Buffalo Trace profile that I can get behind, and I think maybe the Bowman touch has given it a little extra spice, and it's just good. It's really good, solid whiskey, well put together and cohesive, not offensive in any way, but robust enough to keep you interested. Anyway, that's enough about this one whiskey. Stay tuned for another video where we compare it to Blanton's, but for now, let me know in the comments below. Again, what has your experience been with John J Bowman Single Barrel? How much do you like it? Have you been able to find it? And again, how does it compare to other Buffalo Trace products that you've tasted? Because A. Smith Bowman has put their own spin on it. Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.